All right.
It was so bad.
So, before we wrap and we go over to the pod where we're going to talk a little more contemporary news and get us really ready for training camp, time for one last stroll down nostalgia lane. Any game from 2011 to last year, the drought, the Badlands era, sadly. Give it to me, Connor. I'm going to give you what I can remember about it. This would be the time to beat me because I've been in France, Newport, and celebrating 4th of July with my family, and my brain is mush right now.
If you have anything on this one, I'll be thoroughly impressed because I had wiped this game somehow away from my memory. 2012 Jets, very forgettable year.
God.
They finish. I'll at least set the scene. Rex Ryan, the coach, the full season. They finished 6-10. That was 3rd in the division. Tony Sperano was the offensive coordinator. Rest in peace. Mike Pettin, the defensive coordinator.
Still hanging on.
Still hanging on. It is week 7.
Okay.
They are at New England, and they lose in overtime
because Stephen
to
Hill
go 3-4.
Stephen Hill dropped a curl route on 3rd down that Sanchez put right in his breadbasket, and he, much like Braxton Berrios, has been dead to all Jet fans. I'll never forget that friggin' drop. I also remember they had Khalil Bell playing running back because all their running backs were banged up. Was that the right random running back that got carries in that game? They had
Well, let's see. I'm looking right now. That I think you're thinking of Lex Hilliard. You are on it. He had 3 carries.
They were out of
target.
backs, and it was in overtime, and it was Sanchez and
Dude,
Lex
how did
Hilliard.
you remember that?
And that was a game again. They had no business even being competitive because they really genuinely stunk that year. And Sanchez actually
Tebow had 4 carries.
4 carries for 7 yards. This is
12 yards.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Sanchez, I'm sure statistically it looked ugly, but I remember he was decent in that game. But
he had 328 yards.
Vintage Mark.
He had a 90.3 quarterback rating. He was 28 of 41. He threw a touchdown and a pick. He was sacked 4 times.
God, and how did they lose that game? They lost on some funky thing in overtime where I'm trying to remember the play that New England made to ultimately ice the game. But that game always boiled down to the Hill drop, and then, it was Hilliard, not Khalil Bell. They were just out of backs, and it's this team is so talent depleted right now. They have no business being in a competitive game in New England. And they were still, like I said, they were 3-4. I think they had just beat the Colts, a few weeks before. Sean Green had 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, they were 3-3 going into the game.
First place going into the game, I think. The whole division was 3-3 at the time. So that was
I'm trying to figure out this game.
Who caught the touchdown in that game? Curly, maybe? I'm trying to think.
Curly had a huge day.
Yeah.
Huge day.
He was
Dustin Keller caught the touchdown, but I think Curly. Okay, so Curly had 7 catches for 120 yards.
Oh my God.
So I'm trying to figure this part out. The Jets are losing 13 to 23, and they score a touchdown with 5.5 minutes left in the 4th. They're now losing 23 to 20. They kick a field goal at the 2-minute and 6-second mark. Okay, they tie the game. Then they kick another field goal. Both Nick Folk 43-yard field goals at the 1-minute and 37-second mark. What did they do to get the ball back in less than 30 seconds to take the lead?
That's a great.
And then New England, of course, tied the game with no time left.
I think they either fumbled.
I'm looking
the kick,
it up right
I think
now.
they fumbled the kickoff return. Maybe. I want to say they fumbled the kickoff.
It had to be
return.
something insane.
Or it's either that or a strip sack on 1st down. But I want to. I could be wrong now. This is the wet brain. I think they fumbled.
Oh, Sanchez strip sack in overtime is how they lost. By the
right.
way,
that sounds right. It's Vrabel or something.
Oh man,
disgusting.
yeah. The 3rd down drop by Stephen Hill is in one of the first paragraphs of the New York Times. That forced them to kick the game-tying field goal.
They should have went in for the game-winning touchdown because they were driving. He dropped it
you're right.
15-yard line.
Devin McCourty fumbled the kickoff return, and of course Antonio Allen recovered it. The only Patriot killer of my lifetime, Antonio Allen.
What a brutal loss.
At the New England 18, just before the 2-minute warning, the Jets lost 7 yards on their next 3 plays, with Sanchez taking a 10-yard sack when Curly fell on his route. Nick Folk kicked another 43-yard field goal, but the Patriots operating their no-huddle offense to perfection against a soft zone defense. That's bizarro for Rex. Marched